Hi everyone, in today's episode of Business Ventures, I'm detailing how I'm starting my Amazon FBA career with just $3,000 so far. So the updates for this episode are my current selling status, how much I've sold to date. Just a forewarning, it's been $0 so far. The complications I've had with getting samples, some initial market research report that I've conducted to evaluate and scope the market for the product, and an update on the product that I did choose to sell for Amazon. And finally, the associated barcoding that would be going into that product and getting that all prepped for the IP Accelerator program hosted through Amazon, which will enable me to get brand registry. So on the screen, I have my total sales to date, and no surprise, it's $0. I did do some proof of concepts where I had a couple samples for some products. However, they weren't the featured product. And even though they're cheaper than the product that was listed, I was selling watch cases. Nothing really came to fruition. So it's a little bit sad and disheartening that I couldn't get anything that was merchant fulfilled to sell. And yeah, so I guess that was just a strong inclination that wasn't the product to go with. So on the screen is the product page for the samples that I did list, these watch cases. Now they were featured as other products within the product listing page, so they weren't the featured product, which makes it a little bit more obscure and difficult for customers to find the actual item. And even though I was undercutting the product pretty substantially, somewhere between $4 and $8, even including shipping, it still didn't seem to budge or sell. And I don't know whether that was attributed to the low seller rating that this product actually affords, or it just was the fact that most people weren't searching in the sidebar for the cheaper alternative. So that's a huge incentive to actually having a product page. And when I actually list the OEM products, I'm going to be really excited about that and how it unfolds. So additional update, I finally had a purchase order for the product that I'm going to go with for LVOC, my new brand. And I'm really excited to show you guys the logo and the imagery associated with this brand. But yeah, just fell in love with this leather passport holder, and I think it's just a great product that I know I would love to have, and I'm going to keep this for my travel purposes. And what's really great is I finally put in that invoice with the manufacturer and supplier. So I have roughly a 1 month lead time for when they arrive in the States. And I'm going to break down some additional consideration, and especially the cost of goods that will be huge for when I actually come to market with my product. Okay, here is a price matrix of the initial invoice that I had sent out for the leather passport holders. Now, what's important to note is that the unit cost is relatively cheap for all intents and purposes, roughly around $5. However, after including associated packaging, so I'm gonna have custom logo packaging, barcoding for these products, then the shipping considerations, the final total on a price per unit basis will be upwards of $7 a unit. And then counting into the consideration of Amazon, the FBA fees associated with Amazon, the referral fees, so it's roughly a 10 to 15% charge on every item. And then because I have an individual account, I'm getting charged an additional 99 cents per unit sold. That's roughly gonna be another $7+. So the final listing price will have to be somewhere between a 3 to 4x markup for me to even have any potential margins moving forward. So these are all important considerations for when you start a Amazon business. You have to know the cost of goods. Otherwise, you won't be able to price effectively. And if you can't get it under a certain price relative to your competitors, it's no point in even launching that product. Okay, I'm really excited to unveil my new logo for LVOC. It has ties to equine or horses, and I feel like that's a very robust, strong brand name, especially when it comes to the leathered goods market. Now, this is essentially a compilation of my market research report, which includes things such as my why, the purpose of why I'm releasing this brand, and essentially having these questions answered before going into an Amazon FBA is crucial. Understanding what you offering your customers, why you're going to be able to differentiate yourself, what are your overall objectives, what questions do you want answered for launching a product or a business. And then from there, I break it down by the competitor landscape and looking at brands and alternatives to my product that are not only cheaper, looking at their average stars or rating on a price basis, what the country of origin is for their products, what are the keywords, SEO rich content for the product descriptions, and beyond the pricing is how well it did in terms of rank. Was it highly rated, highly sought after? So some of the competitor landscape for my product include brands like Test Gear, Toro was a big one, and getting a feel for how their brands appealed and what I thought about looking at their product pages. So I included links here, and overall I listed some pros and cons with each product just on a surface look. So some, they didn't have certain features, and maybe it was a pricing consideration, it was too pricey. Others where it looked a little bit cheaper in terms of the material, or they didn't necessarily have all the storage components. So these are all considerations, and if that's a crucial defining point of your product, you'll want to note that and list that. And one of the brands that I really enjoyed looking at was Polare, because they had everything in terms of pricing, warranty, giving that customer appeal, and that's near a pricing point that I want to be at. And the quality of the material looked good. The messaging to the target audience, mainly men, was really well done, and so on and so forth. So these are all considerations I had to conduct and research in order to get a better understanding for how LVR can compete. From there, it was just about OEMing the actual product. And now I'm at the stage where I'm going through the IP Accelerator to get my brand trademark. So altogether, I spent a total of $3,000. And yeah, I'm really excited for this Amazon journey to begin.